Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. How are you? You're welcome back to school. Inshallah, in our general studies lesson, we're going to be looking at two different sectors. Three: social studies, science, and geography. This week we'll be looking into social studies, and our topic is actually on trade. Trade is a broad topic, and the first part we're going to look at is production. So in this video, we're going to look at what? Production. What is production? Now I'm going to give you a scenario. Production is actually what turns an apple into apple juice. In simple terms. So anything, the process of turning this apple into what? An apple juice is what? Production. Or turning cocoa into what? Chocolate. Production is the act of turning raw materials into finished products that will be consumed by who? The end users, you and I. Let's go into our textbook, lesson 31, where we can actually learn more. Manufacturers are an important part of the Nigerian economy. They are people who take raw products such as oranges and cocoa into their factories and turn them into orange juice and chocolate. This is called production. Manufacturing is the process through which raw materials are turned into finished goods. Production is complete when the goods and services produced reach the final users, who are called the consumers. So like I said, production is when manufacturers take raw materials, any raw material, it could be cotton, and they produce it, they manufacture, they process, and it becomes what? Fabric, where we can put on. Or they take other things, metal, iron ore, and turn it into iron rods and things that can be used in buildings. So it's actually a process of turning raw materials into finished goods that can be consumed by the end users. We have different parts of what? Production. We have the primary, secondary, and tertiary. Let's say together. Primary, secondary, tertiary. What is the primary part of production? That is when the raw materials are being extracted from source. So these raw materials such as plants or animals or even natural resources, when they are being extracted from the source, from the natural home, that is what the primary what? Production. We also have what? The secondary production. This is when these raw materials that have been extracted here are processed. They are turned into things that can actually be what? Used by consumers. So we can take cotton and turn it into fabric that can actually be sewn and worn by consumers. We can take fruit and turn them into other things. Tomato into puree, apples into juices, pineapple into jam, and so many things. So the raw materials are extraction of raw materials in the primary, processing of the raw materials in the secondary, and the tertiary part is actually when these raw materials that are produced here, that have been processed here, are taken to the consumers, those that would use them and pay for them. Let's look into our textbooks. These are new words to learn. We have consumer, manufacturer, retailer, and wholesaler. Nigerian factories produce all kinds of goods like clothes and shoes, mineral water and soft drinks, rubber tires, furniture, and all kinds of food. Some of what is produced in the factories is exported to other countries, and some is sold to Nigerians in this market and stores. So some of the things we produce that are being produced by the manufacturers are consumed here, and some of them are actually taken out of the country to other African countries or even other continents around the world. Now look in this diagram, we're going to look at the chain of production. You know what a chain is? Something that linking of different parts. Chain. So this is our chain of production. How is it linked? How is one part linked to another? So the first part is actually what? The raw materials. The raw materials are the things that actually start the production process. What raw materials do we need to actually make something like a bucket? Yes, a plastic bucket. We'll need what? Yes. What do we need? will need petroleum byproducts, and so it will be processed by who? The manufacturer, the one that will manufacture. So you see some of these goods we buy in the market, and it will be written manufactured by, the name of the company and where the company is in any part of the world. And the next person is the wholesaler. The wholesaler is the one that buys this thing in bulk from the manufacturer, so that it will sell it in smaller parts to retailers. Retailers are those that buy them in smaller quantities and sell them in much smaller quantities to the consumer. So let's look at milk. What's the raw material for milk? We're going to look at powdered milk. We all like powdered milk, isn't it? Okay, let me give you a sachet of let me show you some milk. Can you see milk here? You all know milk. I'm not advertising for Dano, but this is Dano milk, and it's what? In the powdery form. So what is the raw material for milk? Very good, cow milk. So the cow milk is taken from cows from their farms, and it is taken into the company, the factory of the manufacturer, who processes them and makes them into dry powder. It will make them in very, very large quantities. Once it's done, it sells them to the wholesaler. So the wholesaler will buy them in big trucks. It will buy lots of quantities, lots of them. The wholesaler now has all these products, and retailers come to him to buy them. So retailers can buy in cartons. So all those people that sell in the market, they're actually what? Retailers. They buy from wholesalers, who actually buy from the manufacturers. So the retailers can now sell it in 1, dozens, 3s, 4s to the consumers. So that is the chain of what? Production, the chain of production. Let's look in our book. The manufacturer produces the goods for distribution. The wholesaler is the trader who buys goods in large quantities from the manufacturer and sells them in what? Smaller quantities to the retailer. Wholesalers find markets for the manufactured goods. They act as the middlemen between the manufacturers and the retailers. The retailer buys these goods in small quantities from who? The wholesaler, and sells them in units to the final consumer. Retailers include street hawkers, market sellers, small stores, department stores, and supermarkets. The retailer completes the production process by taking goods to the final consumer. We're going to look at the last part, which is what the division of labor. If you remember, we did division of labor in grade 4. So let's take a look at just a little review. Division of labor is breaking down the production process into smaller parts, so that each part can actually be manned by a single individual or a group of individuals. So in the production of milk, in the extraction of raw materials, everybody will not do the same thing. Some people will take care of the cows. Some people will be in charge of extracting the milk. Then when it gets to the manufacturing factory, some people will be in charge of filtering. Some people will be in charge of the carding and all that. Some people will be in charge of packing. Some people will be in charge of stamping it and all that. Some people will even be in charge of checking that the quality of milk being produced meets the regulatory standard, so that it is safe for human consumption. So division of labor is the breaking up of production into different stages. This means that each worker focuses on a different task. This creates people who are skilled at a particular job. For example, when a house is built, different workers do different tasks. Do you find a carpenter laying blocks? Or you find a mason nailing wood? No, everybody has their own job. So carpenters make furniture, while plumbers fix the taps, sinks, and toilets. Each of those workers is skilled at what they do. We can apply the division of labor to many fields, such as manufacturing, agriculture, and production. Even in the classroom, different people can do different things to clean up and make the work go faster. People can sweep the floor, and another person can arrange the desk or clean the blackboard. Inshallah, I want you to read up on this so that in our next lesson, the next video, we're going to look at trade in modern times. If you have any question concerning this video, this lesson, please send it to the group. I will attend to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.